Okay, so we should be live at this point. So people in my group, 11 o'clock Tuesday a.m. We are live as usual. And today we have Kristin and Thresa from Living Wealthy Financial. I love having these two here because they have a wealth of information to share on how to make your business and your life a little bit better now and in the future. So guys, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. This is so much fun.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes, yay. Finally, you guys were on my list for a long time and I finally reached out, so thank you.
You're very welcome. Our pleasure. And, congrats on the work that you're doing, the community that you're building. You're bringing so much value and really very important value to, business owners, small business owners that, it's if you venture into the world of small business, God love you. It is not for the weak, right? It is not for the timid. And if you are timid and you are weak, if you hang in there, you'll certainly become bold and strong. So.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah, this is not an easy gig for a lot of people. This group is full of courageous individuals that are really trying to make a better world for everybody, including themselves. So that's what we're here for, is trying to help each other out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about Living Wealthy Financial. What is it? What do you guys do?
Well, Living Wealthy Financial is a firm that I started a very long time ago. Combined, Kristin and I have about over 40 years of experience working with the public and financial services. And we specialize in one specific niche. It's safe money strategies using a whole life insurance product. And the reason I chose that a long time ago was because in the financial world, there's so many, 99% of the advisors out there are all about risk. And there was no one really talking about where to put your safe money. And everybody needs a place to put safe money. Everybody. I don't care if you're, single, family, business owner, employee, doesn't matter. We all need a safe place to park money. And so I decided to specialize in that almost 20 years ago. Kristin joined me about 10 years ago, and that's what we've been doing ever since. And we've helped thousands of individuals working with our clients along with our advisors and training other advisors and working with their clients. So it's a space that, we've mastered. And I'm also a small business owner, right? And understand intimately so well all the challenges of being a small business owner and many challenges, but it's a journey. I am very grateful. I was called to, absolutely love it. I am unemployable. I knew I was unemployable when I was in my early 20s, and just grateful that I've been able to not only figure it out, but help others in their journey.
Excellent. I was just going to ask that. How did you know that this was your path rather than, there's a million other things that you could be doing. How did you know that numbers and financial and helping people was going to be the thing that you knew you could do and you could help so many people with?
Well, that's an interesting question. My father, when I was in high school, kind of strange, but he, I was a little precocious and a little wise beyond my years. And he used to share, he was a medical doctor, and he used to share his balance sheet and his numbers with me, which as a teenager, I don't think that's typical, right? And he used to share his investments, and he owned shares in a bank, and he took me to a board meeting, and he was talking about this real estate deal and that, and I just loved the conversation. And when I went to college, I started as an accounting major, very quickly figured out accounting was not my thing, very quickly. And I went to finance, and it was like, I loved it. Absolutely loved finance. Not so much the nitty gritty numbers, but strategy and thinking through finances and making money and managing money. And I just loved that conversation. I ended up going to law school. I worked for a Wall Street firm during college, went to law school, practiced law in DC for a little bit. My husband was transferred, and I went back to working with money. And that was really an amazing experience for me, because I now had the legal training and I had the legal glasses from which to view the whole financial world, and saw so much BS, because the law teaches you to think different, and saw so much BS, and saw through my clients how much the conventional financial wisdom wasn't serving them. And so I went looking for strategies and solutions that were aligned with my mindset and my understanding of how money really worked. And with those legal, new glasses, and just sifted through a bunch of BS until I found what we work with today. And so, a lot of luck, a lot of positioning myself to be lucky, because going through law school certainly isn't easy, and willing to buck the system and willing to think unconventionally and outside the box. And it was a tough journey. Talk about pushing a boulder up a mountain, right? Not easy. And so grateful, because today so many people are now realizing the work that I do has so much value, and that the conventional financial wisdom really doesn't work. Because Cheryl, if it worked, why is there so many people suffering from not having, their finances in order? It's not for a lack of information. It's for a lack of the right information. It's for a lack of the information that empowers people, and it's for them, not for the system. Does that make sense?
Totally, absolutely. And I think that fares well with most professions. I know in our profession, coaches, business, that's the realm that I'm in. But you could listen to 5 different coaches and get 5 different opinions, and all 5 may not be perfect for the person who's trying to listen and trying to learn. So yes, I totally understand that. Man, you have to have the right piece of information that's going to actually get you from point A to point B. You can listen to a lot of fluff and just spin your wheels constantly and not get anywhere. So having a tool that you can count on, you can rely on, it's repeatable, that you know that you can trust it, that's gold. That's just my opinion.
Totally agree with you. Kristin, anything you'd add to what we do in terms of a philosophy? Cheryl, I'm all about the mindset first. I'm all about philosophy first. Somewhere also my precociousness when I was younger, I had like a mindset and philosophy about certain things. And back then it was about relationship and dating and my health. And it certainly has evolved over time. But I do believe everything has to start with mindset. And if you're unclear about your mindset, you're going to be unclear about what actions to take. I'm very clear, and Kristin and I are super clear about our mindset regarding money and finance. And it's got to start there, right? And I would say to your audience, if you're not clear about your mindset with money, have a conversation with us. We can get you clear like this. Or we can't get you clear, we'll have you getting to a path for clarity.
Yeah, I would add to that too. It's about curiosity. For so many people, traditional ways of dealing with their finances are not working. And there aren't many people out there that are willing to say, why is that? And so questioning, why isn't what I'm doing working for me? And what is out there that can help me achieve what I'm trying to achieve even better? Being willing to think outside the box. And that's really how I ended up working with Thresa. I was very traditional. I was in banking when I met Thresa, thought I was going to continue down that traditional path. And you hear the way she talks with so much conviction about what she believes in, and you can't help but, get excited and want to believe it too. And then when you learn about it, it's like, gosh, this makes so much sense. And, it makes you want to share it with everyone you meet.
Absolutely. I want to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty here in a second, but I want to make a point to the people that are listening, that raising your hand and saying, I don't know, or I'm not clear, there's no shame in that. Please raise your hand, reach out to me, reach out to these ladies, reach out to a financial advisor, reach out to somebody that you trust, and try to get that clarity, because without that clarity, you're not going to be able to move forward. So it's okay to raise your hand and have the courage to say, I don't know everything. Please help me. So I just want to put that nugget in there. So I want to know a little bit more about the details. So when you talk about whole life strategies, what does that mean?
So what we're talking about is using a product, a whole life insurance product. And all of a sudden, I know people are like, what? Whole life? Are you kidding me? It's not your grandma's whole life. But the products that we use and the companies that we use have been around for over 100+ years. And they're designed in a way to serve the client. They're designed in a way to give the clients options. And I'll go to mindset for a moment, because remember, everything I do, it chunks up to mindset. What's the bigger mindset? I believe the quality of someone's life is in direct proportion to the quality of options that they have. And I know, Cheryl, you may not have heard that before, but I know you absolutely believe that with the work that you do with your clients, right? A business owner that has very limited options is in trouble, absolute trouble. Same as with finances. So why wouldn't you want more options in your life when it comes to finances? You're able to navigate the world, especially as a business owner. Because, when we are business owners, we sign up to have more crap happen to us than the average Joe, right? I mean, that's just life. Life happens, crap happens. You sign up to be a business owner, you have signed up for more crap to come your way than anybody else, right? Because that's just the nature of being a business owner. And so don't you want more options? And don't you want more options when it comes to finances so that you can navigate all the crap that happens? And so what our solution does, what our strategy does, is big picture, bottom line, give you more options. So when life happens, you're able to navigate to win. And so let me give you an example of some of those options. You've got cash available to you on reserve for your savings. That cash grows at a better rate, so to speak, than it would ever in any other safe money strategy. You get the power of uninterrupted compounding if you have to tap into that money or you want to tap into that money. We have a lot of business owners, a lot of investors that do what we call double dipping. They tap into the cash, they go invest it, and they've got their cash working for them in two places. How cool is that? You die prematurely, there's the life insurance. You have a major medical issue, you can tap into that life insurance while you're living to serve you in your health issues, right? It grows and can grow income tax favored. Are taxes going to go up or what? Of course they're going to go up eventually. Imagine being able to build a retirement fund that you can tap into income tax favored. There are guarantees. This has been around for over 100+ years. This isn't a new strategy that hasn't been proven. The Federal Reserve tells its member banks where to put their safest capital. Banks own more of this than any other institution. So I know that's highlighting, a bunch of stuff really, really quick, but imagine if you had the power of this strategy. Crap happens, life happens, and you're able to say, all right, I've got a health issue. I've got an option here, or I need cash and I can tap into this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Kristin, did I miss anything? I know I missed a ton of stuff.
That's awesome. Kristin, can I jump in here? I think that I read, and we've had a couple of conversations, but you are a specialist in college and university funding. Is that correct?
I am, yes.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that, and how does that play in here?
Yeah, so, planning for college, it's really interesting. What are the choices that parents have when it comes to planning for their children's futures? They have the 529, they have prepaid tuition programs, but those programs are so, like Theresa said, it doesn't give you options. What if your child is an entrepreneur? What if they want to go to a trade school? What if they want to do something else entirely? Those solutions really don't fit into that. And so parents are very limited in how to help their kids. And because of that, they push their kids into a college education that maybe those kids aren't ready for or don't want. We all know the problem with the cost of college. It's insane. And it's getting more and more insane by the day. Yep. And there's not a lot of options for people who aren't able to pay off their student loans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So combining this strategy with college planning, it gives parents and kids the option to say, here is money that I've saved for you for your future. And now we can figure out the best way to use it for you. And if it is college, then, let's use this money to pay for college instead of going to the federal government for a loan and get stuck into that cycle for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's a nasty cycle.
It is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll be completely honest. I still have school loans that I am still trying to pay off. Being a doctor, you
Me too.
a lot of money to go to school. I won't say that it's necessarily always worth it, but for some people it is. So I guess you have to make your own choices. But college for a parent who's especially a small business owner who typically, at least in the beginning, typically is struggling to either pay payroll, pay themselves, pay the bills, and then think about having their family survive on what little that they're making, and then think about a college tuition. That just seems overwhelming.
Theresa's actually used this strategy to help her own son start his own business. And, he wasn't meant for college. And Thresa, I'd love for you to tell the story. I know we don't have too much time, but, they figured out that he wanted to be a business owner. And, Thresa said, well, you don't learn business, you do business. And he now owns an HVAC company, which is amazing.
I've heard this story, but my audience hasn't. Go ahead and tell it.
So it's probably one of my greatest joys in my life. I love the story, and my family, my husband's family, all educated. I've got a graduate degree, JD. My husband's an electrical engineer. Like, we've got PhDs, doctors, like everyone's super educated. And my son, I raised him totally alternative, out of the box. And when it came time for college, he got accepted to Colorado State University and wanted to study entrepreneurship. And my heart was really heavy because as a business owner, and he grew up, around my business, I know that you don't learn business in college. You just don't. And it just broke my heart that we were going to spend a couple $100,000, because we wouldn't have qualified for any loans or grants or anything like that, on an education where he was going to come out with a degree and no experience. And so we said to him, look, if this is really what you want to do, we will take your college money and start a business after you do 2 years of an apprenticeship. And I chose the HVAC industry for many reasons. One, because every structure in the world, right, needs the mechanical system. It's a difficult business to start, which means not everybody can do it. And to get a license is difficult. I mean, you wouldn't have just anybody work on your HVAC. And if you had anybody just work on your HVAC, they can't get parts, right? And so selected it with criteria. And he said, yes, I'm in, I'll do it. And so he did his 2 years apprenticeship. And when he was done, he said, it's time. We took his college money, took loans from our policies, started the company. It's now 4 years in. It's in Austin, Texas. It's kicking ass. And most importantly, the man that he has become, he is now 25 years old. The man he has become, the business owner he's become, he understands the cycles of business. He understands leadership. He understands culture, which is a cult. Right? Listen to the words. It's building a community where people know you care about them, right? It's understanding financials. It's understanding marketing. It's understanding recruiting. It's understanding interviewing. The best compliment, and this was one of my highlights this month, the office manager texted me, and because right now it's high recruiting season because it's getting ready to get really hot, and we're in Austin, Texas, and you need to recruit when it's really hot because you got a lot of business. So the office manager texted me and she said, I'm listening to your son interviewing technicians. He's doing amazing. He sounds just like you. Now, it sounds just like you is very sweet, but I spent time coaching him and he spent time listening to me interviewing technicians when we started, and he picked up on it. He's 25 years old. I wish I knew like an eighth of what I know today at that age. He's going to kill it. And he actually loves the business, but what he loves more is all the opportunities that are available to him in business. So that's the story. And I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of in my life.
That's awesome. It has come full circle at this point.
Full circle.
That's great. That's great. So tell me a little bit about what is your ideal client? Is it the situation that you just described with your son? Is it small business? Is it a single person, married person? Are there any disqualifiers that you work with?
No, so from a business perspective, our firm, we have advisors that work with us. Kristin is one of our advisors, and she specializes in college planning. She also specializes in debt elimination, and she works with everybody, right? And so we work with individuals, middle income, I would say, all the way up to the very, very wealthy. And we have the only criteria is if you've got debt, we've got a program for debt that Kristin is a specialist in, and she's fantastic at it. And there's a lot of value that's there. But if you don't have a lot of debt and you want to work with us with the saving strategy, you've just got to be able to save a certain amount every single month or every year. And the amount depends on your age and your health. So I would say just reach out to us and see if we're a fit. If we are not a fit, we're the first ones to tell you. If you are not ready for us, we're the first ones to tell you. We've had clients from years and years ago who we say, we're very, they want to work with us so bad, and we tell them it's just not a good time. You're not ready. They come back years later and they're like, I'm ready. Let's go. And so that is very rewarding when that happens.
Excellent. Excellent. So what does the process look like? So if somebody comes to you and they say, hey, I think I might be a candidate, what happens next?
Kristin, why don't you take that?
Sure. So, our process is so casual and laid back. And I think people, when we first talk to them, they're expected to be sold to. And so they're caught off guard with that. But really, it's about educating and learning. So, the first call we'll have is just an introductory call. We'll learn about you. You'll learn about us. We'll decide if this is worth, pursuing. And then from there, we just learn about your finances, your goals, how we can best help you accomplish those goals. If you do decide that the saving strategy is the one that's best suited for you, it is insurance, right? So you do have to apply for it and qualify for it. But, like I said, our process is so casual. It's so laid back. It's just getting on the phone with us, scheduling a 30-minute call, and learning about each other.
Excellent. Excellent. And I will tell the viewers out there that I've been through this process. I have a policy with these guys. It was seamless. It was easy. It was low pressure, really about what's best for my situation, for my family. And one thing that I really appreciated was that they were able to help me in the situation that I was in a couple of years ago. We're at the point now where we could probably revisit that and add another policy or expand. So these guys really do a good job of fitting the tool to where you are and then being able to expand as necessary. It's not something that it's a one size fits all. You have to do it this way. Very laid back, very easy to work with these guys. So
beautifully said, Cheryl. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that.
For sure. If you guys are at all thinking about your legacy, your financial legacy, you think that you might need a loan, think that this potentially could be a good thing for you, please reach out. I have the phone number up above us and the email above us, and feel free to DM me. I'm happy to put you guys in contact. Or if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I don't want to conclude just yet, because I have a very important question.
Ooh.
I want to know, what's the weirdest thing that you've had somebody take a loan out for?
Oh.
Or who's the weirdest, not necessarily the name, but describe the weirdest character that you've worked with.
Oh my goodness. There are a couple of those. In terms of loans, I don't know that this is weird, but we have a lot of clients who take loans out for plastic surgery.
That's a good one.
So I don't know if that's weird. Generators, when there's major weather issues in certain areas, we work all over the country. We have from day one. And there was a time when there were hurricanes in New Jersey and Virginia, DC area, and people were without power for days. And they were we had multiple people take out loans for generators. RVs, We have a lot of clients take out loans for RVs. We have clients take out loans for investment property all the time, real estate, business. Kristin, what would you say is one of the weirdest?
I just thought of one that happened this year. I had a client who actually had a rat infestation in his house. And this was in the midst of everything with COVID, so he was already just struggling financially and ended up taking a loan from his policy to help pay for the rat infestation, the extermination and all of that.
That's
I think
expensive.
that's the weirdest one.
That can be expensive for sure.
Yes.
For sure. And it's again having those options.
Exactly.
If you don't have that option, then the rats take over.
Exactly. And in terms of characters, we work with, business owners are characters, right? But we work with individuals, families, business owners, and everybody's just special in their own way. Is there someone who's more special than others? I would say every now and then there's someone who's probably a little bit more unique, but people are really surprised when they have conversations with us because we're just not typical. Like, you're not talking to a financial person with, we're not really like buttoned up type of people. I've never been that way, even in law school many years ago and in financial services, Wall Street. Like, I never showed up typical because I'm just me, right? And so they're having conversations with us going, I know, because I've been told, like, what is this? What kind of call is this, right? And they still get so much value because for me, whether you're my client or not, or whether we can do business or not, at the end of that call, I want you to have value, walk away with something where you're blessed, where, you're empowered, where there's something great happening for you. And that's really, what we do at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we're genuinely interested in learning about our clients. And so we're able to have some really fun conversations and really get to know the people that we work with.
That's amazing. That's great. That's great.
Was that your experience, Cheryl?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Great experience.
Thank you.
Good stuff. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I know a couple people in this group and they're gonna be like, so I can just go to the bank and get a loan?
Sure.
Difference. What's the difference?
Right. Banks, think about it. Banks own the most expensive real estate in every community, everywhere. What do they know that you don't know, right? Why do they have so much money? They don't talk about this. Why don't they talk about what we do here? Back in the 80s, and Kristin, correct me if I'm wrong with the dates, there were congressional hearings. Listen to this. Congressional hearings, people testifying against the product that we work with, saying unfair competition, what they're doing, we can't compete with. What do they know that you don't know, right? What about uninterrupted compounding? Think about that concept. Imagine if you can access your money and still have it work for you. That's what the banks do with your money all day long. I'm not saying there's not a place for a savings and a checking account. Of course there is. But not having this strategy limits your opportunities and your possibilities for your future. Isn't that what you want? Who doesn't want that?
Agreed. So I want to start with you, Kristin. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you feel like is really important for somebody that's never heard of you to understand what you guys do?
I think one of the biggest things to understand is that this is a strategy that's becoming more and more popular. There are a lot of people out there that are trying to implement this for their clients that just don't understand the best way to do it. If this is something that you decide to pursue and for whatever reason you decide not to work with Thresa or I, just make sure that the person that you're talking to is experienced, has the background, has the knowledge, has the education to properly structure these policies and design them in a way that they're going to work. We run across a lot of clients who have started policies in the past, they weren't designed properly. And, having to restart and give up that time of building up your policy, it's just not fun to have to go through that. So just make sure that the person that you're working with really knows what they're doing and they're not just jumping on this because it is becoming popular.
Sure. So if somebody called you, what kind of documentation would they need on their end to be able to give you the information to make sure that you guys are a good fit and that this can move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So knowing the best questions to ask, right? So, what kind of companies do you work with? Are they stock-owned companies? Are they mutual companies? How do they deal with their policy loans? Are they direct recognition or non-direct recognition? How long have the companies been around? Do they pay dividends? Everything, what type of product is it? Is it whole life? Is it index universal life? So really knowing the questions to ask and knowing what's needed to really implement this strategy in the best way.
I would also say, ask the advisor how long they've been doing this, what kind of training they've received, how much money are they putting into their policies, how many policies do they have, how many policies have they implemented for their families, how have they used their policies, how much experience do they have managing policies? Because as Kristin so brilliantly said, yeah, it's all about the design up front, for sure. You've got to have it properly designed with the right company and the right product and the right design for the client. But managing the policies, like you can have like two of the same Ferraris, exact same Ferraris, right? One is going to get more performance than the other. And it's based on how that Ferrari is being driven and taken care of and maintained. And the coaching perhaps that the driver receives. I'm limited with that analogy, but anyways, so yeah, you can have the right design and the right policy, but if you don't have the right coaching on how to manage that policy, you're not going to get the most that you can out of that policy.
So what do you guys offer as far as coaching and education and kind of maintenance? What does that look like?
It's just part of our process. We, set up the policies for the clients and we have ongoing conversations with our clients. Whenever they need us, we're absolutely there. There's no charge. It's just all included part of setting up the policies. We have clients that reach out to us every 6 months. We have clients that reach out to us every year. We have clients that don't reach out to us for years, and all of a sudden they've got a major life event and we're on the phone coaching them through it on a regular basis. So it's all about what does the client need, when they need it, we are there for them. And we've been doing this. I've been in business for over 30 years. We're not going anywhere. We've got a team. We have a beautiful team. That's another question for advisors. What kind of team do they have? How long have their team been working with them? In terms of experience, we've got a whole team of people to love and serve on our clients. That's not, the advisor's time. They're just there to help our clients maintain their policies and answer questions for their policies. That's a lot of overhead that I invest in to love and serve on my clients. Other advisors don't have any of that going for them. When I started this, it was about a long-term perspective and loving and serving on my clients. And I knew I needed that team in place. And our team, oh my gosh, Kristin, how many years of experience does our team have? And I've got team members that have been with me over 15 years, right? So right. If we were to add that up, I think we're talking about maybe 100 years total experience, which is pretty crazy.
That's great. That's you can't pass that up.
You can't.
So I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about when I first started with you guys is, Kristin, you actually set up a 12-month check-in with me, whether I liked it or not. I appreciated it, but we set it up way in advance so we could talk about it to see if there were things that needed to be changed or modified. And I really appreciated that because I knew I had a touch point, and I knew that at that point, for sure, I had somebody in my corner. I thought so.
Right.
Having those extra touch points, I know now that you guys are the real deal, and that's awesome. Cool. Well, Thresa, do you have anything else, any golden nuggets that I haven't brushed on that you would like to extend to the audience?
No, I would, like everything else in life, it starts with mindset. And wherever you are in life, you, the audience, start with your mindset. Start thinking about mindset. Why did you start your business? Or, what's your mindset around money? And think long-term. One of the mindsets that I had early in my life, I don't know where I got this from, but I thought long-term. I was able to look at, choices that I'd make and the consequences of those choices. So I was able to make really good choices early on in my life. And having, that idea of my mindset is going to determine my choices and my actions. And what are the consequences of my actions? What are the first order consequences, second order consequences, third order consequences? I'll give you an idea. And I'll work with money. Starting to save, like if you've got a long-term perspective or mindset around money, and you want to save, right? And you need to save. So if you pay yourself first, which is one of the rules I absolutely abide by, you pay yourself first. It's about you first. You'll figure out the mortgage, you'll figure out rent, you'll figure out utilities. Maybe you won't get the fancy purse you want, but at least you're paying yourself first. When you start that young, what's the first order consequence? You start having a little bit of savings. What's the second order consequence? Over time, that savings builds up and you can invest. You've got more choices, right? You've got more runway in your business where if business is bad, you can stay in business a longer period of time. Third order consequence might be, you get to leave a gift to your child or a charity, right? And so thinking in terms of what's my mindset? What are the actions that are aligned with that mindset? What are the consequences, right? What's the future look like with each of those actions that I take? First order, second order, third order, fourth order. I think just that alone can make a huge difference in someone's life.
Sure, absolutely. Taking responsibility for your own life, making sure you're putting the right action steps in place so you can be successful. And that's what legacy is a series of steps and things that you are actually going to do to get you to the next level.
Totally.
So this has been awesome. I really appreciate you guys coming on. How can you give us your phone number and your email? You didn't have it posted, but if you could state it here, that would be great too.
Kristin?
Sure. So you can reach out to us. Our phone number is 1-800-382-0830. My extension is 3, Theresa's is 1. You can also email us. My email address is Kristin. It's Kristin @livingwealthyfinancial.com.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Hold
Cheryl,
on.
thank you.
I will stop the Facebook Live and I'll be right back.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. This is great.